this is Nikki in Niagara, coming to you from Niagara Falls, Canada. And I'm just sitting here coloring, and I decided to turn the camera on. So I have no idea what's going to come out of my mouth. I have a little note here that I was working on, jotting things down to talk about as they came into my head, but it's only got 3 things on it, so that's not going to be a heck of a lot of use. Excuse the shadows. It is nighttime here. If it doesn't look good when I edit it, I will add a filter to add some more brightness to it. So, what am I doing? Let's talk about what's in front of us right here first. So, this is Mandalas for Relaxation and Meditation, 40 Mandalas by Camelia Angelkova. And this is the one where they're all squares. I've only done, well, I had only done 2. But I came up with this amazing idea. You know, I've been trying to get rid of my shuttle arts because they were all drying out and stuff, so I was just using them up, and I did a lot of using them in my color by number book, that Halloween one, and well, all the Halloween ones that I've been using or doing over October. Words are going to be hard. I can just tell it. It's going to be one of those days. Oh, yeah. I should mention the day and the time. So it is Wednesday, and it is 6:45 in the evening. So that's why we have the shadows. So, yeah, anyway, so I wish I could show you, but I can't because it's over there and it's got stuff on top of it and everything. But my container of shuttle arts, I've got like about maybe this many that would fill in my hands right there. I've got that many left, and they're not good colors. It consists of every shade of gray that there is. And then I have a whole bunch, I'm seeing a whole bunch of pink tops, but these pinks are purples that are pink. There's a pink, one that's called pink, that's red. I've got some purples that are pink, and pinks that are just very pale. Also have some, there's 3 of them. There's 3 really pale aqua mint type colors. One of them is actually called aqua mint, and the other 2 are very similar. I've got a blue, which is violet, and I've got a couple of ugly greens. And yeah, so you can see the situation of what's there. So anyways, I don't even think I was thinking about it. Well, you know what? I should color, and then we'll get to what I'm coloring in a minute. So, I don't think I was even really thinking about it when all of a sudden I thought, oh, you know what I could do? And, oh, I think I was talking to my sister about the patterns and how I do my patterns, you know, with the 3 random markers and 2 random gel pens. And then all of a sudden I had this, I know what I could do, is that I would randomly use my shuttle arts to color in mandalas. So I thought, okay, how can I do it? How can I do it? I thought, well, first of all, I picked a book, and this is the book I picked. And I thought, okay, so these are 5 color mandalas to me. So I wanted to pick 5 colors, and I thought, okay, So let's do my usual thing of 3 markers and 2 gel pens, but I pick, like, randomly now. I close my eyes and I don't even look until I'm finished. So I reach over here to the side and I randomly pick 3 shuttle art markers. Then I wheel myself around so that I'm facing the other direction, except I keep my head turned this way, and I reach my hand into the bin that has all my gel pens that are not glitter, and I pick 2 out of there. So then I lay all 5 in front of me and I look at what I've got. And for this one, I ended up with coral red, which is pink, fluorescent coral red, which is kind of like a fluorescent pink, and then I got blue gray 7. If I pick color markers for this and there's not a gray in it, I will be surprised, because as I said, I have every shade of gray in there. It's mostly gray. Then my 2 gel pens I got were, as you can see, neon green, and then the other one is just a regular red. So I put those together in the order that I wanted them, which was a little bit difficult because I didn't want to have the red between the 2 pinks. So I ended up putting the 3 markers together and the 2 gel pens together on the end, and I hardly ever do that. I usually try not to have the gel pens side by side, but it was the best combination with the colors that I had this time, so that's what I went with. And now I have been working on this mandala and I think it is beautiful. I am loving the colors, and these are not colors I would have picked. But this is my second one. I came up with this idea last night, late last night, and I just had to get started. Once I started, I had to keep going until I finished. So this is the one I did last night. And I actually picked a gel pen and a glitter pen and a non-glitter pen for this one, but I think I'm liking doing the 2 not glitter pens because I have so many gel pens that are not glitter that I need to use them up too. So the problem with this one is that the sleeping colorist attacked me, and she rolled me onto the ground and beat me up, and she won. And she colored this all by herself, and there's there's lines all over the place, and like marker just stuck there, big blob. So yeah, if you look at this closely, you'll see that it's a big mess, but it's still pretty. The colors turned out absolutely gorgeous. So I got a gray, and I got that yellow is actually pale cream, and then I got another pink, which I believe is a purple. It calls itself purple. Then I got the orange glitter pen and the purple non-glitter gel pen, and it turned out wonderful. So I was really excited today after I colored what did I color? Oh yeah, I colored a Halloween picture out of Autumn Dreamlings. And so I colored that, and then I got right back into doing one of these. It's going to be I'm going to find myself addicted to these. I just know it because I've already used up a shovel art marker and a gel pen. So it's been productive. So this is what I'm actually working on. And what color am I using? Okay, so this is the pink. Yeah, this is kind of It's not difficult, but it's a windy, weavy type of pattern. So you've got things that weave themselves around the circle, and then you've got things that wind themselves around that line. And yeah, so you've got to be careful of what you're coloring. And my voice is just, I can't get rid of it. My husband says he doesn't notice anything different about my voice, but to me, it sounds all stuffed up, but I'm not stuffed up. I just kind of feel like I'm on an airplane and I have to keep blowing my ears out. That's what I feel like. So it's a good idea for me to be doing this little talk here, because I was sitting there all anxious and nervous about my doctor's appointment. Well, not about my doctor's appointments, but about having to go to them. I'm just really in a hermit mode right now, and I do not like leaving the house. And tomorrow I have to go for my pain shot, which really is no big deal, but I have to get dressed. I have to put on makeup because I'm the type of person who doesn't really go anywhere without some makeup. I mean, mind you, I don't like get all dolled up like I used to do. These days it's just a little bit of foundation and some powder and teensy bit of blush just to kind of like even out my skin and make myself look human. So, I haven't worked on those ones. Let's do that. So, ooh, it's coming out of, alright, whatever. This was just not the smoothest move, but so yeah, that's what we're coloring, and I can just tell that I'm going to really get into these. But I have to make sure I still do my Halloween coloring. Oh, and speaking of, you know the Halloween Color It tag? I colored all the pages. I'm finished. It only took me like, what, 2 weeks? A week? To color, how many pages was it? I think it was 10 plus 2, so 12. So I did have one little mishap, and that was one of my pictures I was coloring. I really messed it up. So I had to go find another picture that had that symbol in it. So it's not the same picture that I picked, but it's not cheating either because I was stuck. I couldn't continue on with the page that I was doing. It was just a real big mess. So I just left it. I've abandoned it for now, and it's a whip. It's my one and only whip, because I just am not a whip girl. Alright, so now I gotta put this somewhere where it's not gonna interfere with those ones. Let's do these again. So yeah, I couldn't believe it when I finished them all. I know in the tag I talked about how I would give myself until the end of November. And then I would do a separate video on how I completed it and show you what I did. But obviously I was overthinking it and I didn't need that much time. So what I'm going to do is when I do my end of the month pictures, this coming up here not too far away, I will show you those pictures all at once and kind of explain how they relate to the tag and how I did them. So yeah, there'll be a little section in my finished pages all about those pages. I had a ton of fun coloring them, though. I think 3 of them were color by numbers and the other 3 weren't. Nothing was really too complicated because I did pick them knowing that I was going to have to color them. So, you know, there was no like Tomislav Tomic there or anything. Yeah, I want to thank everybody for the input that you gave me on what I could do with my dilemma of not having enough space for my books, and I'm feeling a lot more comfortable about that now. I kind of know the direction I'm going to go in, and somebody told me that you can print out a sheet, like for a PDF, you can print out a page that has thumbnails of all the images in the file. So if I don't have a cover, I can do that for a cover. And I'm thinking that, like, I had no idea you could do that, and I'm thinking that's actually a good idea for even if they do have a cover, of doing that, because then I can see all the pictures of what I've got on PDF. I would just have it in my book. I would have the cover, and then I would have the thumbnail page, or I would just have the thumbnail page and I'd write the title of the book on it. Excuse me. I'm going to be taking sips because like I said, my throat is hoarse. And I've definitely got dry mouth. So, yeah, so somebody said that. Okay, let me decide what I'm going to color here first. Okay, that one is good. So, yeah, we talked about double shelving, and if I do that, I'm going to have to do it straight across the board because my books are in order by author or series, and Danny had a great idea of double shelving my seasonal stuff, but I only separate out okay. I only separate out Halloween and Christmas books, and for Halloween, since I collect creepy books, a Halloween book for me is one that actually says Halloween in the title. If it doesn't, then I just consider it a everyday creepy book that I can color whenever I want. Now, I do have seasonal books. I like them because I think I do color seasonally. But if I have, like, you know, an autumn book here, a spring book there, I just file those under the authors or the series. But one thing that I'm pretty sure I mentioned it on here, like, long time back, that I have a Library Thing account, and it's a lifetime account, so yeah, so I went and deleted all the books that I had on there, all the you know, the novels and stuff that I had in there, because I absolutely love databasing everything I have. But that's another one of my obsessions. So, I didn't have any of those books anymore because I got rid of all my physical books. Almost. I still have books that are like at special, and that's my collection. And I have I have a special collection of true crime books too, not just everything. Not every true crime book that I've ever owned. No paperbacks, they're just like special advance copies that have notes to me from the authors or are signed, and just unusual books that are like conversation starters, I guess. Like, why on earth do you have that book on being buried alive? Yeah, so I do. I have a book, I forget what it's called, but it's all about the world's greatest fear, being buried alive. So, it's a good book too, though. So, yeah, the whole point of this is that now that I've emptied out my library thing account, I've been thinking about this more and more often, and I'm going to definitely set a time aside each day to enter my coloring books. So I'll enter them slowly, and then eventually I will have a listing of all my coloring books. I'll be able to find what I want without having to go searching through my shelves. And if I go the route of starting to get some books on PDFs, then I'll also know that I have them, because those books are going to go into the library thing database as well. It'll be a book just like a physical book. So, let's see, I'll try to stay on screen here, but yeah, when I do mandalas, I'm always turning around in circles. When really you don't need to. You don't need to do that. You just need to like turn to this way and then turn it back that way. So once I've got my coloring book collection online, I'll or actually in my next part here, I'll go find out what my username is there, because it's been a long time since I used it. It'll be some variation of Nicola, or yeah, Nicola. That's my full name, but everybody calls me Nikki. So it'll be some variation of Nicola, Nikki, Niagara, or it might even be Eliza Jane. That used to be my handle online, was Eliza Jane, because my dad used to call me that when I was a kid, because my middle name is Jane. So yeah, I have to go look it up and see which one of those it is. And I'll tell you guys it, so then you can friend me on library thing, and you can see what books I have. So if you want to ask me to do a flip of a book that you see there, I can. If you want to do a buddy color out of a book that you see there, we can. If you see a book that I have and you want me to do it on camera, I can do that. So I think it'll be very useful for you guys to have access to my library of coloring books. I didn't need to do all that turning. Are we on screen? Yeah, I have to keep checking since I'm moving this around so much. So I hope the light's okay. Whenever I complain about the light and I go and edit it, it's not as bad as what I'd been expecting it to be, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'll just put a filter on it if it's too dark. Yeah. There was something I wanted to show you, but I don't know where it is. It should be over here. I think it is. Just hang on a sec. I'm going to have a look over here to see if... Yes, it is here. Oh, I have to get up, so I have to sit back down again. Oh, my chair always rolls away on me when I sit in it because I'm too short. So I have to like do little hops to get my bum all the way back so I can lean against the backrest. So, yeah, let's talk about what I'm watching and what I'm reading. Well, first of all, for watching, I did watch a show and I finished it. I watched that show called, that Netflix show called Evil Genius. I forget what the tagline of it was, but it had something to do with the most terrible bank heist or whatever. And the thing is, so anyways, just let me refresh your memory on the crime. It's the one where the guy, the pizza delivery guy, robs a bank with a bomb collar around his neck, and the police catch him, and the bomb ends up going off before they believe what he's saying. So yeah, he like explodes on screen, you know, because of course the reporters are all there. So in my mind, I had heard of this, but I saw one of those TV shows doing a take on it. So in my mind, I like when I saw that this show was available to watch, I looked it up, saw what it was about and stuff, and in my mind I vaguely thought that that wasn't real, that it had been a made up story for one of the TV crime shows, but I half thought I knew about it, that it had really happened. So in my mind, I kind of thought it wasn't something real and kind of had a feeling that maybe it might have been. So seeing that there was this show all about it, and like finally coming to realization that it was a true crime story, I wanted to watch it. Now usually I don't do like in my crime watching and reading, I don't do robberies. They're just boring. I'm not really interested too much in what makes a bank robber tick. I mean, usually they need the money, or they just have some kind of mental thing. So yes, I knew absolutely nothing about this case, and wow, was it ever convoluted. It was like something that would be done for a TV show. This woman who was the mastermind, the evil genius in the title, I can't remember her name now. I don't remember any of their names. She was like weird. Just like really, really weird. Now, the one thing that was a little I don't know if it would, like, it didn't affect me or anything, but, like, this woman was, like, way out there. She was bipolar, and, I mean, for the way her bipolarism was manifesting, she obviously was not taking her meds, and she was just like, I'm sure she had other mental issues too. See, I'm bipolar, but it's on the mild side, and I am on my medications. So I have small breakthroughs, or I don't know what I call it. Just, every now and then I will actually have a bipolar day where I'll be up and down in the same day and just be on an emotional roller coaster. But, I mean, I'm not crazy nuts like this lady was. So, there was that, but yeah, it doesn't bother me or anything. But it just, if you know the story, you know what I'm talking about. And I can't really explain it because it's complicated. But yeah, she got these guys to basically do it for her. And, the plan all along that nobody really knew until the end was that she intended to kill this guy. But anyway, she got caught and she's in jail forever, so we don't have to worry about her anymore. But that was some story. I really enjoyed watching it. It was a well done documentary. So I watched that, and now I'm in the middle of watching an Australian show, an Australian crime drama, I guess you would call it. It's just 8 episodes, that's all, and then it's finished. So it's not like seasons or anything, it's just one 8-episode show. And it is called The Gloaming, which is a very appropriate title for an Australian show. And so this is about a serial killer. And again, it's quite a complicated story because I'm on episode 5, I think, is the next one I have to watch. And where the story has gone from episode 1 to now is so far that it's hard for me to remember how the story started out. But yeah, it just well, I'll just tell you how the very first body was found. Was I think she was about, well, I can't remember, somewhere between 45 and 52. One part of me remembers them saying 52, and another part of me remembers them saying 44, so that could have been different people. So anyways, this woman, around my age, let's say, okay, I need to pay attention here. Yeah, here we go. Is found dead, and she's been beaten up and, abused, by physical violence, and they find her all wrapped up in barbed wire. And so they find someone else like that, and then people who are close to the case start dying. One girl hangs herself, and all this sort of stuff. And then, if that wasn't enough, there appears to be a bit of a supernatural force at work. Now, I don't know, or we don't know, if that's real or if that's just, an imaginings type of thing. So I kind of hope they don't go the supernatural route. I mean, I enjoy a supernatural story as much as the next guy, but I don't like my mysteries to have supernatural endings, because it's so frustrating to, like, why should I have even bothered watching that and spent the whole hour and a half, 2 hours, or like this is an 8-episode show, if I spent all that time trying to figure out who it was and having my ideas, and then kind of something happening which disproves what I thought, so I start thinking again of what's going on and who did it, and then at the end for it to turn out to be some supernatural being is kind of like, oh, it wasn't even figurable, And I don't like mysteries or thrillers to not be figurable out, figure to be able to figure it out. that was a mouthful to get out. So yeah, I'm watching that. It's really good, and I was gonna tell. I recognize one of the main actors. He's in another show that I used to watch. I'm not sure if it's over yet or if there's still more episodes, but he's a cop in the out in the outback, which is like really, really like kind of the olden Wild West days, when the way they portray it in that show. Okay, so there's 4 of these, and I didn't do that one. This is getting a little bit confusing. So the same actor is in both shows. He's an Aboriginal man, and he's like really good actor. I like him. So yeah, in the future I'll be keeping an eye out for him, and maybe I should go find out what his name is so that I'll recognize it if I see it. I really like Australian shows. I like them as much as I like British shows. They have kind of the Australian crime shows are kind of there's Southern Gothic. I love those kind of stories, and it's kind of like Australia has its equivalent, Australian Gothic. Here in Ontario, we have our own subgenre of Gothic, and there's a kind of writing not by artists who are from Ontario necessarily, but who are writing about Ontario, and it's called Southern Ontario Gothic. So it's a very niche-y subgenre, which I like. I like all of those. I haven't read me some good Southern Gothic in a really long time. So, we're back to red. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to finish up these and then go tackle those, so I don't keep getting mixed up as to where I am. How does this work? So, yeah, what I wanted to talk about, what I'm reading. So, I can't remember what the last book was that I was reading. Oh yeah, I do. It was The Devil in the White City, and I told you guys all about that already. So, really enjoyed that. And I thought I was going to go straight on to another one of Larson's books that I hadn't read. I was going back to his first one, which I didn't even know existed until I saw it. And the very first book that he wrote was about Bonnie and Clyde. And now, Bonnie and Clyde is one of the first cases that I became really interested in when I was a very young teenager. I watched that movie with, let's see who's in it. I believe it was Faye Dunaway and Warren Beatty. And I just absolutely loved that movie, and I fell in love with Bonnie and Clyde. Of course, I was young and impressionable, so it didn't really bother me that I was falling in love with the criminals. And so ever since then, I've been wildly interested in them, and you know, have seen the photos taken from the shootout, and I've seen the car, like not in real life, but you know, on shows that deal with it, seen the car riddled with its bullet holes and stuff. I just feel really sad that they had to like kill them like that, because they could have taken them alive if they'd really tried. They didn't have to have that big shootout, because I mean, Bonnie and Clyde were just surrounded. They didn't have a hope in hell of surviving that. So yeah, that's what I was thinking of reading, but then I just like, I don't want to get into a big involved nonfiction book right away after having read one. So I was, you know, I've been working in our front room for a couple of months now, clearing it out and sending all the stuff to the thrift store, the majority of it, and some of it's just trash and needs to be thrown away or recycled. But yeah, so I'm pretty much done. I've just got, you know, bits here and there and a box here and there to go through. So I went through 3 boxes of books, and they were books that I hadn't read, and they were like true crime, mystery thrillers. There's some horror there, and there's some of my nonfiction crime books. And so I thought, well, hey, I'm gonna dive into these. But another thing that I found was books that were a part of my short story collection, because I used to, like, I love short stories. It's a wonderful genre of literature. Well, that's not much, is it? I thought it was going to go right around. So when I was a book blogger for about 3 years, I got up in the morning and I read a short story every single day for 3 years. Now, of course, there was days here and there when I didn't do the reading for one reason or another. And there were days here and there when the story was so short that I read 2. But after I had read the story, I would write like a 2-sentence review and very brief plot angle. And so I would do that with every story in the book, and then at the end do a review of the book overall and put that up as my review. And they were quite, people were quite taken with the reviews that I did like that. So anyways, I found all these short story books that I'd been collecting to read when I was doing that. And so I picked up one. Where did I just put it? Oh yeah, here we go. I picked up this one right here. It's called The Uncanny Reader, and Stories from the Shadows, and the editor is Marjorie Sandor. And so this is a collection of uncanny stories, and most of them are written by famous authors of the past, like 19th century authors, and what I call Victorian Gothic, or just thrillers, Gothic, from Victorian writers. And I've read a lot of that stuff, so when I see a story and the author's name, I don't know if I've read it before or not until I start reading them. And so this has authors such as Edgar Allan Poe, Kafka, Shirley Jackson, and then it says there are 16 contemporary stories in the book as well. And they take place from all over the world. And every morning I've been getting up and having my coffee and reading a short story. And so I've got myself into here. So far there's only one story which I knew. Well, there's one story that I totally remembered as I was reading it, and that's the last one I read, which is an H.P. Lovecraft one, The Music of Eric Zahn. And there was a couple of others that I knew I had read, but they just didn't click with me. It was The Sandman by Hoffman, Berenice by Edgar Allan Poe, and then there was one of Ambrose Bierce's stories, which I didn't recognize, though I have read short stories just of his books. The same with Guy de Maupassant. I didn't recognize the story, but I've read books by him. So the next one that I'm coming up to is called The Birds, and it's by Bruno Schultz. So we'll see how that one goes. So far, it's just an iffy book. I haven't found any of the stories to be particularly uncanny. The best story that I've read so far is the Edith Wharton one. And the one that has been the most uncanny was the last one that I read by H.P. Lovecraft. And I'm just kind of a newbie with Lovecraft. I've only read a few of his stories, the ones that pop up in these short story anthologies that I read, but I've never read any of his Cthulhu, is that how you pronounce it? Stories. And I would like to, but I don't know where to start. Because, that's not true. I did read one once, and it didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. I felt like I had jumped into the middle of something. So, that is what I'm reading right now, and then as I get a little further into it, I'm hoping to... What are we coloring? I'm hoping to get into reading a proper book, whether it be a novel or a true crime at the same time. So I'll have the two books going at the same time. When I was a book blogger, I would have like 4 or 5 books on the go. Each would be a different kind of book. Like there would be my short story book, there would be my nonfiction book, there would be... I always read fairy tales and myths and legends, so there would be the story from that, and then there would be my novel, and That's all I can think of. So that's 4 books at a time. And of course, lots of the books that I read were review copies from, well, when I started, I got the books from the publishers. They sent you the physical books. I started before NetGalley was even a thing. But yeah, I did review books on NetGalley too. But I don't know. I didn't like it as much. I don't like the NetGalley site. I don't know what it's like now, but they used to keep track of your percentage and I don't know. It just kind of felt like there was competition going on between you and the other reviewers. So I much preferred to get my books from Edelweiss because they seemed more professional about it. It was like, you know, you didn't have any contact with any of the other reviewers. And there weren't any, like, you know, badges or levels or, you know, stuff like that to reach. That's just silly. So I'm having a ton of fun coloring this, and I think it's just working out beautiful. I mean, well, you know, maybe this one isn't beautiful, but it's interesting. It's eye-popping, or it's poppy, as Coloring with V would say. Boy, I miss her. She came back. She did a video maybe last week and said that she was slowly going to come back, but she's been gaming instead of coloring during this pandemic. So hopefully she can pull herself away from the gaming console, because I have 2 boys, so I know that there can be a point of no return for gamers. I used to play games, but it was very, very old school because I was there with the invention of the home console. So, I think that's all I have to say right now. 50. I've almost talked for an hour. Oh my goodness. I hope I didn't bore you. I don't even remember what I talked about besides this book beside me. So, anyways, I guess I'm going to close for now because it's not going to give me too much time for my next login, and I might actually have something to say. Yeah, I just spent 53 minutes with not having anything to say. So, I hope you're going to stick with me for the next part. Yeah, so I'm going to log off now, and I will see you next time I log in, which will be in a few seconds for you. So, see you later. Hello, I'm back again, and it is Friday at 10 to 6 in the evening, and I have to tell you, I am absolutely zonked. Just my body is very, very tired, and my eyes are starting to get that way too, so I hope I've got some oomph here for you. But if I don't get this filmed now, then I'm just going to get myself all behind and rushing over the weekend, and that's not fun. And I like this to be fun. So if I film Friday for my last day, or if I've got my filming done by the end of Friday, then I can relax on the weekend and upload everything at a leisurely rate. So, yeah, we're just going into this with not too much to talk about, so we'll have to see where my gabby mouth takes us to. First of all, I'm really enjoying working at the new setup here. Nobody made any comments on the camera setup, so I've got to assume that you're satisfied with it, and hopefully there really wasn't much of a change for you. It's a major change for me here because my tripod is, I have a large tripod. I think it's, well, not large, but I think it's 3 feet. It goes up to 3 feet, and I used to have it way over top of my head looking down, and now I've shrunk it right down, and it kind of like just, I've got it all set up so that it looks onto what we're working at. I feel like we're on a little bit of an angle, but it doesn't really seem to come out that way in the filming. So for the rest of this, pay attention and let me know if there's something wrong with this setup, so I can know and try and make some adjustments if it's not quite right, because I want you to have at least as good a viewing experience as you did with my other setup. But I have changed because I have to have my elbows on the table so that I can work. It wasn't doing my shoulders any good to have them back like this. I need them on the table. So I still have this strange voice where I sound to myself as if I'm hoarse. My husband says he doesn't notice it at all, but I just feel like I have plugged up ears all the time that can't be unplugged. You know what I mean? So let's take a look at what we're going into. Now, I apologize that I cannot for the life of me remember what we worked in on Wednesday. So if I am doing the same book, then I apologize, because I don't remember this being the book we're working in. I think I got it out and showed you what I was doing, but I don't think we worked in it. So I'll just show you. If you remember, I have a small amount of Sharpies left. And so I'm randomly picking from those Sharpies, Shuttle Arts. So I'm randomly picking just from that pool to do mandalas. Now, there's lots of colors that go together because they're in certain groups of colors that are left. I've got pastels, I've got pinks, I've got a ton of grays, I've got some weird greens, various shades of lilac and light pink, and they have names like purple and red, but they're pinks and they're lilacs. So yeah, that basically describes it. There might be one or two here and there that are a little bit different, but I'll show you. So I started in this book. This book had already been started, but I thought this would be a fun book to work in. This is the one, Mandalas for Relaxation and Meditation, and it's the one where the mandalas are all square. So this contains 40 mandalas. This is one of our earliest books. So this is the first one I did, and I did this the normal way that I choose them. 3 markers and 2 glitter gel pens. And it turned out, I have to admit, I had a real big problem with the sleeping colorist on these. So the first few are not pretty. There's a lot of spots and scribbles, and I don't know how they're going to show up on screen. You probably won't see them as bad as they are up close, but up close they're bad. These are not the kind of thing that you show on Instagram. So this was the first one I did, and I did it that way, and the colors. I'm also putting my palettes down here so I know. Oh, I did 4 markers and 1 glitter for that one. Then I decided to do 3 markers and 2 gel pens that were not glitter, because I have a lot of not glitter gel pens that need to be used. So this one, I liked the colors as well. The colors were really nice on the first one. I think the colors went really well together here. And even though it's pink and green, it doesn't look Christmassy. There's a bunch of scribble marks and spots, though, from that sleeping colorist. Then this is the ugliest one, because not only did I scribble like a mad woman all over this page while I was asleep, the colors were all wrong. If that dark gray had not been there, it would have worked better. But I used the gray in prominent places because that's what I had done here. No, not here. No, I didn't have black. Did I do it here? Well, I'd used the darkest color here in prominent places. Maybe not quite as prominent as what I did here. So I thought it would work out. And that's what I have done on other mandalas. You know, when I have more choice to pick from, I will use the dominant color in places where it will be dominant. And that did not work here at all. I should have used since the dark gray was so out of tune with the other colors, I should have used it in single place, like smaller places where it wasn't so in your face. I forgot to do these. Or did I do them? Yes, I had the very light. They are. I did them. They're done in very light gray. I think that was a 1. So yeah, this was 1, 2. Oh yeah, I already told you what that was. So yeah, we had to do something new for the next one. So I decided to go with 5 markers only. Skip the gel pens, and this turned out excellent. So what I did, I had the really dark gray again, but it fit into the pattern. It fit into the pattern much better. So this time I didn't use the gray in the prominent places. Like this ring around here I would have used for the dark. I would have done all of these around here for the dark. I would have done the last row on these things in the dark. That would have been the prominent places for it, but I didn't. And it turned out really great. So I'm going to keep that in mind as I go forward. So then the next one I did this morning, and again that happened. Except I had 2 of the dark grays, so at least they went together. They were very similar in color. I think they were both the same number, but one was a warm gray and one was a cool gray. But you can't really tell them apart in the mandala, so I had to be careful of placement of those 2. And I kept the darkness to the inside, and I think that's really helped too. So even when you're picking random colors, you do have some thinking to do, because they say that any colors will make a good mandala, and with that I agree, but you can put them in the wrong places too. Make your mandala end up being ugly. The one we just looked at back there is proof of that. So this time, since it worked without a gel pen, I decided for this one to go back and put one glitter gel pen in, because they're the ones I like the best. I like it best when I see a bit of glitter in there. So I am using 4 markers because I need to use these suckers up. If I only use 3 every time, they're not going to get used up. So I'm using 4 and 1 glitter gel pen. So far I have used up 3 of my shuttle art markers, and even a couple of these Touch News. This is from the big set I had before I had the shuttle arts. Sometimes it's near impossible to use these things up. And I've got rid of 1 gel pen from doing this. So I want to keep these in order, but these are the colors that I came up with. I got olive green, and I put these in the order that I think is going to work best. But just because this is the order that I've put them in, it doesn't mean that when I pick the next color, I don't have to put it in the next row if I think it will work better in 2 rows up. You know, I try to go row by row by row, just picking the pencils, doing a row, you know, so that it's leaving out the brain part of it. But you do naturally see going, oh, this color's not going to work there. Right? It would be better if I skipped this one and did the next one. So I do that. So we have olive green. This is a Touch New, so it is a very old marker. Then from the Shuttle Arts, I have pale pink, and that's this kind of like pale rose color. Then I've got warm gray 4, which is this color here. And then this is where I've placed the glitter pen, and it ended up being a light blue. And then we have blue-gray 3. So very close in tone, but you can definitely see the blue in it. It's used in those parts right there, so it even looks like a light blue. So that's the arrangement of my colors, and I'm just working on starting the set again. So we're going in with the olive green, and I've already decided that I'm going to do these. I'm going to do this section here. See, this is one of the good things about the Touch News, is that they post. Put the lid on there. So, I guess I'll just start with what's been going on here the last couple of days and why at the end of today I am just zonked. Well, Thursday, see, I filmed on Wednesday. So then on Thursday, that was my pain clinic appointment. And as you guys know, last week I was just in utter pain with my legs. And well, that stems from my hips. It starts in my hips and then it'll move down into my legs, and it's just so painful. I'm like absolutely fed up with it. I was gonna talk to the doctor about it again. And so I did. Got there, and I did. And I was telling him about my hip, and he goes, well, how about we give you a cortisone shot there? And I went, I said, I need to get it in my shoulder this week. It's time, and I need it there. And so he said, like, we have alternated between the two when it was necessary, but he said this time he was going to give me a full dose in both because I was in so much pain. He wanted to get me out of pain. So that was yesterday, and he told me to take it easy for the next couple of days, because when you first have a cortisone shot, your immune system is low. So, and you can also sprain a muscle really, really badly because it's a little, I don't know exactly how it works. I'm assuming that it like, you can't, well, he said that you can't feel how much you're straining yourself, and you can actually like tear a muscle really, really badly by doing that. So for the first couple of days, I'm supposed to take it really easy. And I have been taking it easy in that I'm not, walking up and down the stairs more than is necessary during the day. And I'm not lifting anything heavy. I'm moving most stuff with one hand, and if I can't lift it with the one hand, then I get one of the men in the house to come get it for me. And it's embarrassingly not that heavy, but I just can't manage it with the one arm at the time being. But so today, the areas where I got my injections were so sore. Oh, man, I made a mistake of looking at the needle again. He was coming around to the front to do my shoulder, and I saw him with it, and I'm like, oh no, I looked at the needle again. And I've only done that once before. And that was, I think I'd been getting the injections for like close to 2 months or more when I first looked at the needle, and I like almost just leapt out of my skin. It's like that long. And I'm not kidding. It'd be about that long. That's the needle part. It has the syringe and everything on the end of that. So that's how big the pointy part is. And so the first time I just like screamed and went, oh my God, I looked, oh no. But this time I looked and I'm like, I looked again. I shouldn't have done that. And so he's coming over to do my shoulder, and I said, how far do you put it in? And he goes, here, not very far. And I say, well, then why does the needle need to be so big? He goes, but the same needle goes into your hip, so we need to get all the way in there, so then it will go in a long way. And I'm like, oh, because it does not feel like that big of a needle is going into me. Okay, Nicola, keep coloring while you're talking. Alright, so I've got this pink again. We came to that awfully quick. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go back and do these. I think if one of these runs out, it'll be this one. So, oh yeah, if I'm doing one of these mandalas or even bigger ones, and I've picked out my 5 random colors, if I'm like 3/4 of the way through or more and I run out of a color, I just take it out of rotation, and so instead of 5 colors I've got 4 for the rest of it. It's not noticeable. If it's near the beginning, like if I'm here, then I will look for a color that is similar and replace it with that, so that it keeps the continuity that we've started. Okay, so that was easy. So that means that those ones are all done, and we're gonna do these ones now. So you'll see I'm starting here, and I'm gonna go row by row unless I notice somewhere that I want something to be a different color. Like, I don't know the order of things there, but I do know that I want the flower here to be one of the pretty colors. So we'll see what happens. So we did that. And then after that, I'd been talking with a friend of mine, and we were thinking of doing a buddy color out of one of these penny press coloring magazines, because I finished the Designing Colors one. I completed the whole magazine, and she's been interested in doing it, and so she picked up a current magazine, and we were just talking, and I said, well, why don't I get the same magazine, and then we could do the same number of pages each month, and it would have been fun to just compare how they turned out with what the colors that we had chosen, and did we get good colors or bad colors, and did it affect it? There are all sorts of things to compare when you do a buddy color like that. So yesterday I said to Mr. Niagara, I said, after I go to the pain clinic, will we have time for me to go look for this magazine? Because he had already looked here in town. We have 2 Shoppers, 2 Walmarts, and then we have a big magazine we have 1 Walmart, 2 Shoppers Drug Mart, and 1 Zayre's with a really big selection. Well, out of the Shoppers Drug Marts, one is, and that's the one that's close to us, is a dinky kind of corner store type place, and they don't have a lot of magazines. So he had gone to the one Walmart in town, the big Shoppers that has a magazine selection, and the Zayre's that has the Zayre's has the best magazine selection, the biggest and the best magazine selection in town here. So we went to all 3 of those, and he couldn't find my magazine. And this is a Splash of Color, Volume 21, that I was looking for. Excuse me. Okay, I just blew my ears, and it's made me feel a little better. Okay, so I've got blue here. So I'm just looking. I've got 1, 2, 3. No, that's part of the flower. So I've got 1, 2, and then I need a pretty color. So 1, 2, and I've got that green, so I don't want that. Or I could do 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So 1, 2, 3, and then it would be the pink. Now the pink would work there nicely, only I did the big section on the other ones with the pink, so they'd match. Yeah, I'm going to let them match. So I'm going to do the 3 things up and then into the pink. Sorry, I have no idea what's wrong with my voice. Could just be allergies. It was 25 degrees Celsius today, and you just give me a minute. I will tell you what that is in Fahrenheit. Well, that didn't work, did it? There we are. So that's 77 in American. So it was a hot day, considering that it's been down in the 50s. I think it was exactly 51 day, and it's like rained for I don't know how many days in a row. So yes, today was nice. And I don't know if the change in the weather is what's making me be hoarse like this or what. Now I've got a tickle in my throat. Oh. So off to the big city we were. I had my pain shots, and then we were off to go get this magazine. And we suspected that it would be at Walmart, because that's the place that we get these magazines, these penny press magazines, and the mystery colors, they always have those too. And that other one, Relax and something or other that they're putting out now. So we went to the Walmart, and eventually, for the whole day, this isn't the order that we went them in, but we went to 2 Walmarts and didn't find it. So after the first Walmart, we were driving down to Shoppers, and there was another Walmart there. But on the way, there was a Chapters, and he said, "Do you want to go to Chapters?" And I said, "Okay, sure," because Chapters is the bookstore, and they have a really nice selection of magazines. So we get in there, and the first 3 racks of magazines are holding calendars, and their magazine section has been reduced. There used to be three aisles of it, front and back. Now there's 2. Well, there's the one against the wall, which is half taken up with calendars, and then there's another one that goes up and down. That's it. So you can imagine there's a ton of magazines missing for them to do it that way. Where am I? And yes, they had Coloring Heaven, which is the Halloween special. I have a subscription, so I don't have to go searching for those anymore. But they did not have a single solitary penny press coloring magazine. It was very, very strange. So then we had the other Walmart to go to, and two Shoppers Drug Marts to go to. And we dutifully went to all of them, and we did not find the magazine. Only at the last... oh no, sorry, we went to... the last place we went to was Zayre's, the grocery store. And that was lucky. Well, not lucky. There was no luck about it. That was just our final try. And I couldn't go in at that point. I was just absolutely shattered. I had been using my oh, what the heck is it called? Walker. There you go. I'd been using my walker all day because I just can't. Like, getting in and out of the car is such a hassle for me, and gets painful after a while. And I can't walk any distance. Walking with the walker is better for me, and I can sit down. So I was getting in, I was getting out. My husband would drop me off at the entrance, and he'd get me set up with my walker. And then I would take off while he went and parked the car. And, by the time I basically got into the building, he'd be there beside me. And then I'd go find the coloring section of the magazines and sit on my walker. That's the kind I have, the one with its own chair. Because that's part of the thing that I need it for, is that not only can I not walk for a long time, I can't stand up for very long either. So if I'm going to stand there, well, I can't. But normally, back in the day, I would have stood there looking, browsing the magazines. But now if I want to do that, I have to have I have to have a chair so that I can sit down and browse, because I wouldn't be able to stand there more than a couple of minutes. Okay, so we are done all those guys. Now, I couldn't believe it. We had gone to all those stores, and I messaged Lisa, and I told her it was just shocking that I hadn't been able to find the magazine. Really. So yeah, we came home and I was a little bit depressed about that, because you expect that when you go to the city that you're going to find what you couldn't get in your own hometown. Well, Niagara Falls is technically a small city, but that's only because of the tourist areas and everything, and it has the feel of a small town, and everybody knows everybody here, or knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, like small towns. So yeah, last night I told my sister, well, in the afternoon I messaged my sister and I said, if you wanna talk tonight, we got to do it now, because I'm going to be going to bed early. And I do remember going to bed just before 9, and I took my tablet to do some reading, and that's what I was doing when Mr. Niagara came home. And he had, what was he watching? Baseball? I don't know. It was the playoffs or something, whatever they call the big brouhaha or something like that. I don't know. So he watched that on his computer while I just read and hoped. I'd already taken all my bedtime medicine, so I hoped I would fall asleep, and apparently I did, because I got up at 7 this morning, which is later than usual for me. Got up at 7, and he'd put my glasses and my pills and my tablet all over on the table nicely, so I must have fallen asleep with them. Okay, am I done with this or not? It's gray. Blue, 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 blue. Yeah, I was put off for a minute there because I noticed that there's another ring going around those. So I think I'll get it when I'm done these ones, because I've planned out the color. So then these two are going to be that green color, and these two right here kind of look like they're leaves. Then today I had an appointment at the hospital where I had to have a mammogram, and it was just a regular scheduled one. My doctor last time I talked to my doctor, she had said that I was due for my next mammogram. They start doing you here when you're 50. When you're 50, they send you a note, a letter, the government sends you a note. The government of Ontario. This is a provincial thing, not a nationwide thing. So the province sends you. Did I do all that, or did I go all the way around? Okay. So the province sends you a letter when you turn 50 to tell you that it's time for your first mammogram and that you need to go get it. Well, I'd already had one at that time because a totally different story. But I'd had to have one previously before, just for to check, not because I had any symptoms or anything. So that was my second one. So anyways, now I'm in the system and I get notified every 3 years that it's time for me to go get my mammogram. And so I went, and hubby wasn't allowed to come into the hospital with me, so that irritated him. But I managed. We manage when we have to, don't we? And yeah, so I went and had that done. And fortunately, it didn't hurt much at all, except for the very, very first one was like, oh, it was horrible. It was like I had been, oh, it was just like plowers. Plowers? No, not plowers. It was like, okay. I'm not gonna get like too in depth here or anything, but we're all grown ups and I'm talking about women's health, so I'm gonna use the proper words. It was like my nipple got squeezed 90% more than my boob was. So yeah, I was like, ah! Then after she did that, the other one was fine, it didn't hurt, and then she flipped the machine over and did them sideways, and that didn't hurt either, so I just felt the pressure. So that went okay. But I was really tired because, first of all, the act of like going out 2 days in a row, of getting dressed, which is not something I do every day because, you know, why? I don't care if the mailman sees me in pajamas, and more than likely Mr. Niagara gets the mail because he does shift work, so he's home at all sorts of hours and he's at work at all sorts of hours, so getting dressed, getting washed. I have to make my hair and my face look a little bit decent because, you know, I'm going out. People are going to see me. Okay, so now it looks like every single thing is done. I do not want to go into the background with the silver. So we'll have to pick a good color. So let's go around the border. I think that will look nice. I called this silver because it's a light blue, but it's like kind of like a blue silver. And all the activity, getting my pain injections usually tires me out. I usually go to have a sleep in the afternoon when I come home from that. But I didn't this time. And then, you know, going through everything I had to go through today. And of course I was nervous. Well, I still am nervous because, I mean, you can't help not be. There's no history of breast cancer in my family. But then My mom died just a few months after turning 50. So we have no idea what would have happened to her as she grew older. And her mom doesn't count because she was adopted, so they don't know the genetics. Well, her mom didn't live long either, because that's why she was put out for adoption, was because her mom had died of tuberculosis. This was the, this would be like 1948 England. So yeah, people were still being put in sanatoriums, tuberculosis sanatoriums, and quite the story here. And their father was in jail for like nothing major. It was for stealing. I believe it was some sort of scheme where they were stealing food for their families, and they got caught. And they were sent to prison for a few years, and that's when my mom's mom had to go into the sanatorium, and of course they knew she wasn't coming out. And so her and her 3 brothers were all put up for adoption. And she was the youngest, being 5 years old. And then the 3 brothers were all, well, the eldest brother was quite a bit older than her. And then each one was like 3 or 4 years between them all. So the boys were all kind of at that age where they're past adoption, like especially back in those days. If someone adopted a 12-year-old, 12 to, I don't know how old the oldest brother was, but he would have been, well, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, he could have been around 14, would be reasonable. Boys only get adopted at that age because back then, because another free worker was needed, another family member to work whatever work needed being done. So, none of them got adopted. They all went to the same place and they stayed together. And when they came of age, the eldest one had left when he was 16, and he kept coming back to look after the other 2. And then he got married, and as the others came out, the second one, I think, went to live with him until he got himself sorted out. And then the third one joined the British Navy. So yeah, my mom had an interesting story there. Fortunately, she found her brothers when she was 42, so 8 years before she died. She found them, and it was really easy because they had lived in the same town where they'd lived with their mom. They never moved from the area, any of them, except for the middle brother. He had gone to Wales, and that's because either the mother, no, I think it was the father. The father was Welsh. And I don't know why he went there. I don't know if it was just for heritage reasons, or if there was actually like some family of the father. The father ended up dying, or I don't know. He lived to be kind of an older man, because I remember the eldest uncle saying that he had gone to see him once, and when he'd been an old man, to just have a talk with him kind of thing, find out why he left them, and after, because after he came out of jail, he never came back to get them. And from what I can tell, it wasn't a very successful meeting, and the kids had just never had anything to do with him. And so by this point, when my mom found her brothers, both parents had been dead for quite a while. Her mother's sister was still alive, though. And she was an 80-year-old woman or something, and it was really satisfying for my mom, because there was an enormous family look-alike. Like, she looked like she was a spitting image of this auntie. So that was fun for her. I don't know what color to do, because any color that I do is going to touch this color. Like, it's going to touch its color. Gray would be a lot. Pink would only be up at these two things. But there's so much pink in there. The green, no, that's ugly. The light blue would be there every time. I don't want to use the gel pen. And what have I got in my hand? Oh, I've got the light gray. This gray. Which gray have I got? I've got the blue-gray in my hand. It's also a little swirl. That's got the stick and the swirl. Okay, I think this is the color I'm going to have to go with to do inside. Or, oh my goodness, could I not color in? It's something I very rarely do. But the center goes straight out, and these touch the thing, and then it goes on. So it could very well be open work. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go for it. I'm going to do it. This is really hard for me, because I don't do white space. But you have to sometimes. So yes, I will do it. So now I will do this portion right here, because it is quite large. So yeah, what I was wanting to say to finish up the story about my mammogram was, she told me that, like, today is Friday, and she told me that the doctor would be reading the file on Tuesday. So she said, if you don't hear back on Tuesday or Wednesday, then your doctor will get the report in a couple of weeks. And you'll get your results. She said, but if you do hear from us, it will be on Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. And that means that you'll need to come back for further testing. So I said to her, so if I hear from you guys on Tuesday or Wednesday, that means they found something, and I got to come in for more tests. And she goes, yes. So when they do that, I'm always thinking, oh, she knows, because she just did the ultrasound, and I'm sure she knows when she sees a lump. So I'm like, oh, she knows. She knows that she found it, and then I get all like, oh no, I know it, I just know they found something. But I've had my regular checkups. I know that if they find something, it'll be early going, because I've had regular regular breast exams by my doctor. I don't do them myself because I'm paranoid about that sort of thing. And every time I've never seriously done it, but I mean, there have been times when I kind of felt around a little bit. Every time I do that, I feel bumps, lumps, whatever. So if I was giving myself regular breast exams, I would be so paranoid over it. I would find something every time, go rushing to the doctor, and she'd check me and go, "There's nothing there. It's just, you're normal. You're supposed to be lumpy there." Who knows? But yeah, I felt it's better for me to just have the regular tests. Or exams. Or the exams, instead of me going paranoid every week after a shower. Because well, there was one time when I did do that, and of course I felt something, and I'm asking my husband, I'm going, can you feel, do you feel anything? And he goes, and and he's like, "It just feels like it always does." This is going to run out. This might be my last one, and this is one of the Touch News that I'm using up too. So I think we'll just grab the other gray. Yeah. I'm not going to get another one out of that. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, is done. So the other gray is a little bit darker, but it's quite a different gray, but it's the best one to move on to. Actually, the glitter gel is the closest in color. So, it looks like we've filled up our time today. So, a couple of things that I wanted to mention was that in November I'll be going back to working in my Chibi Girl, in the Chibi Girl 1-2 grayscale book. So if you are interested in doing a buddy color in that book with me, just send me a message. You can message me over on Instagram, or you can email me at my email address. Both of those are down below in the description, and I'll send you a few pages for you to pick from, because I have limited pictures to choose from these days. I'm not going to finish it by the end of this year, but I'm giving myself till the end of February, and hopefully I'll finish it before that. This is all going to depend on how much I get done this month, and then December I'm going to do a few, but not very many, because I want to devote it to Christmas coloring. So, yes, please get in touch with me if you want to do a buddy color in Chibi Girls 1 and 2 grayscale. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is that if you haven't joined my Facebook group already, now would be a good time, because come November 1st we will be the November challenge will be released. If you join now, there's still time for you to do October's challenge, and you can find the challenges in the announcements section. And you can do any challenge that it has been previously listed. We've only got a few so far, so we've just started getting up and running. But any challenge can be done at any time. But yeah, we have a new one that the majority of the group will be working on, because that's what my group's about. Well, you can share all your pictures that you color, ask questions, keep the tone of the group coloring related, and we participate in a challenge every month, and that's not a color along. A challenge is different. It is something that's challenging our coloring skills, but they're fun, they're not hard. So please come and join us. The more people we have, the more fun and successful the challenges are going to be. But everybody's really enjoying them, so I do invite you. So that's all I have for today. I've hardly accomplished anything, but my camera is telling me we're coming up to an hour, and I was pretty close to that on my other one, so this week's maybe a long vlog, but I haven't had a long one for a while now, so just watch it in two sessions, or however you do things. But I hope you enjoyed our visit this week. I know I did. I always enjoy chatting with you, and I hope you've enjoyed listening to my rambles and brambles. So, yeah. So take care of yourselves, stay safe, and until next time, bye-bye. Love you guys.